Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's Tuesday, so Tea Time Tuesday. And I'm Dr. Smith from Accomplished Health and Wellness, and I have Heather Fiore from Free State Nutrition. And today we are talking about exposing kids to different foods. So I know one time you had given a talk, and during that talk you said when you introduce a food, you have to introduce it like 10 to 20 times before they might even think about trying it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering, like, does it go faster if you do that 10 or 20 times in a row? Because I might get annoyed by that. Or is this like, it just in general has to be like 10 to 20 times?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think even the idea of, not just giving up after one or two times is really hard for people because, if they're not eating it, it's kind of a waste, and then it's frustrating, and you're making this food and they're not eating it. So likely people are going to give up after a couple of times. But the idea is that they need to get familiar and comfortable with the food. That doesn't mean that every meal for the next 20 meals in a row
that they Brussels sprouts.
Right, you don't need to keep bringing the Brussels sprouts out.
I'm getting better at cooking them, but
yeah, that would be tough. But it is important to not give up and to revisit those foods. So even if it's just once a week that you're bringing out this new thing, this particular new thing, but you're not just saying, oh, well, they had that once, they didn't like it, so it's the end.
Okay.
And the other piece is also to prepare different ways, right? Like you don't want to just say, well, we cooked it this one way and they didn't like it and that's the end. It's like, well, they might like it raw, or they might like it dipped in this, or they might like it breaded and cooked, or they,
Does it count to like put it in something?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one of the 20.
Yes.
I could put it in a casserole.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you know what? We forgot to talk about our tea that we're drinking today.
Yes.
So it is tea time. So we do have tea, and our tea today, the featured tea, is called Sweet Tangerine Positive Energy. It's made by Yogi, I think is the brand. It actually tastes pretty good. Yeah. Because last time we talked about steeping it and that we found out that boiling it is not the best option. So I literally stuck the 2 tea bags in a cup for an hour at room temperature.
Yeah.
And it turned out pretty good.
It's good. Tastes like tea for sure.
Yeah. So back to our topic. I have another question. So lately I have really felt like I'm a short order cook, and I have made this rule just this last week that you don't get to take the alternative, which is peanut butter and jelly, until you've tried everything on the plate. You don't have to eat, you just have to try it. You can't just smell it. You got to put it in your mouth and swallow. So is that okay, or is that like not a good thing?
So the general, the sort of hardline rule is that you're not supposed to force kids even to try things, okay? But you're also not supposed to provide alternatives. So,
man, I'm breaking both rules.
The thing is, like, I think we really need to be flexible because, your kids,
Right.
Some kids just need that little, like, more, like, push to try things, and there's no, like, detrimental effect to doing that. Like, they don't really want to do it, but they'll try it, and there's a good chance that over several tries, they will end up liking the food. Other kids, might, actually gag when they're forced to try things. So that's not the kid that you want to do that to.
I don't want vomit on the table.
Yeah, nobody's winning there, so we don't do that. And then there's the other thing about the rule about the alternative is, again, your kids. Some kids, when there's not an alternative, they will like, okay, I'm just going to eat the thing eventually because they're hungry. And then there are kids that just won't. And it doesn't matter how hungry they are. And what that ends up looking like is they go hungry and they're cranky and you're tired and frustrated and it's bad news.
Yeah.
And so providing that alternative isn't always a bad thing, even though, like I said, the hard line rule is no alternatives. But
okay. One more question for today. Maybe we could do a couple more questions, actually. So how can we get creative in introducing new foods to our kids.
Okay.
Because, like, sometimes that's hard.
It is, and it does take the creativity, because if if you're not excited or interested in what you're doing, or even believing in the idea that they're going to like this thing, like, they're going to know, and they're not going to go for it. But if you're positive, like, oh, I got this thing and it looks pretty good, and and you give it some silly name, maybe like they do in school sometimes, like X-ray vision carrots and stuff. They're just regular carrots,
nice.
But it makes kids more likely to eat them, because they're like, that's
X-ray
cool.
vision.
Yeah,
I want some X-ray vision.
Exactly, I want that. Or if you
I don't think I want anyone to see X-ray vision. Like, who knows what they're seeing?
You're right. That wouldn't be good. But whatever it takes to get kids to like eat things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might need to use some kind of dip or sauce. You might even have like an array of sauces. You might make it kind of fun. Like, part of the taste test is not just the thing that they're eating, but what are they dipping it into?
Right.
Maybe you don't like it with this sauce, but maybe you'll like it with this, or maybe maybe it's stuff that they're familiar with, and maybe the sauces are also new. But the other
if you introduce some sauces, like, how many would you introduce at a time if you were going to do that? Like 3, 2, 5?
Yeah. Oh, any of those. I think it's okay. I mean, again, your kid. If it's overwhelming, it's overwhelming. But
right.
Dip. That's for some people, dip really makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And so if that's what it takes, then absolutely you should do that. And the other thing is that some, especially when we're talking about vegetables, are a little bit bitter, and so they might need a little more finesse to make it more appealing.
Sure.
So a dip can sort of cover that up, or having them prepared with a little bit of salt maybe might help with that bitterness.
Sure.
And then sometimes if you can sort of couple it with something they're familiar with, that really helps. So if they like mac and cheese, and you may not like make a whole pot of mac and cheese and mix stuff into it, because then it could be
like one of those kids that's like,
oh,
it's in the mac and cheese, like they can't touch,
it's tainted, and it's ruined. But it might work that, like, oh, well, here's your mac and cheese, but like, here's also some mac and cheese with stuff in it, not in a sneaky, I'm hiding it kind of way, but just like, it's in your thing and it's going to taste like mac and cheese. What doesn't taste good with cheese sauce?
Right. Yeah. I love cheese.
So, maybe putting a little aside and trying that. Again, for some kids, they might really go for that.
So, like, you could give them plain mac and cheese, and then mac and cheese with mixed in on the same plate. Got it.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll try both.
And hopefully they will try. Right. Again, the important part for parents is that, it's you can lead a horse to water type of situation. All you can do is, stay positive, put it out there, and, be positive, and then let go. Like, you cannot make them eat or even try necessarily. Right. And
I find sometimes, like, when you're trying to force them, then they like dig their heels in, and they're like, "There's no way I am even getting close to that."
Exactly. Yeah. If it's something, their thinking might be like, if she has to force me to eat this thing, like, how bad is it?
Right. So I can see that.
It's not going to be a positive experience, even if they do put it in their mouths at that point.
Right.
Like, they're just doing it under duress, and it might be years before they ever have a positive experience with that food. Like, you're just you're not helping anything by forcing.
Okay.
And then another sort of creative fun thing might be smoothies.
Oh yeah.
Because again, it's not hiding. You have to be upfront about, like, this is what I put in there. But if they like smoothies, then you just tweak their flavors they like with adding new things. Like, you can
spinach.
You don't have to like see the spinach and eat it all plain by itself, because that doesn't
that's funny that you say that, because my daughter Elsie, she's 13, and so in the summer a lot we'll stop at the juice stop. We love the juice stop. And so she usually will pick one out. And so I think it was maybe 2 summers ago, I somehow talked her into putting spinach in them, and she looked at the thing for, I don't know how long, 30 minutes, as I was like kept drinking, and we had like half of the cup left, because we only share one. And so we had like half the cup left, and she's like, Mom's going to drink this whole thing, and I'm not going to get any, or I better taste it. And she did, and like the crazy thing is, you could not taste the spinach at all in that smoothie. And she actually wouldn't give me the cup back, so she got the rest.
Cool.
But now she's like, "Oh, Mom, let's put spinach in it this time." And I'm like, "Cool, you can't taste it, so."
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to taste it for it to count. You just have to know it's in there.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. Anything else that you had that making creative?
Well, just kind of a couple of, I guess one thing too is, again, with just kind of making it fun is like maybe like a blinded taste test. Like, you know, I've done this a lot in schools with like different kinds of milk, and it's like, you know, kids are like, oh, I can tell what kind of milk it is. And even if you're not actually blinded, if you just have the milks out, you know, the different like whole milk, skim 2%, they actually don't know.
Yeah.
They actually can't tell.
Sure.
And other than like skim and whole.
Yeah.
Like in the middle, like, I really thought I was going to know, and I don't know. Right. So it could be kind of fun to just, if that doesn't seem stressful for them, to, you know, to like literally be blinded or to just try things without knowing.
This is really good.
I know.
I
was surprised. I'll be honest. I was surprised.
I like really that one. Okay, sorry. Blind taste testing.
Yes. And then I said about the names, and then you could also explore like other, using other senses, like putting different foods in paper bags and just like, you know, blinded feeling them. That's like I was trying to recognize what they are. Yeah. Or like smelling things, or, you know, thinking about what kind of, you know, the texture is like, the crunchiness, and, you know, so really like having like a whole senses experience with food, not just like
turn dinner into a science experiment. Like I could so see that on Sid the Science Kid. My daughter loves the Science Kid, so I could so see her coming in going, breakfast time, and then I got some bags of stuff to try, you know, whatever, reach in the bag and see what you got.
Right, and then you use like fun words to describe the texture, the smell, the, you know, feel, whatever.
That'd be so cool.
Colors even. Yeah.
That'd be fun for me. All right. So anything else that you wanted to add?
Just a couple of things to keep in mind about, other than, you know, not forcing your kids. There's also just, like I said, kind of being patient and not getting frustrated. As soon as you're visibly frustrated, that is,
they know
that is not going to go in your favor. So you know, you really want to try to stay, you know, sort of calm and relaxed, and really, you know, let go of the power, because it is so hard. Yeah. It is really, really hard. So that is like a really key thing to try to think about. Like, this is not a power play here. This is like, they need to be in control of what they put in their mouths, and how much, you know, that's their decision to try it, to eat it or not. And, you know, it's really important that you know, realize that your role is you simply put the food out and then you're done. Like, your job has finished. Yeah. And then you don't like bargain or plead or beg. Like,
no bribes.
Yeah. That's also not going to be.
That's probably like the whole, you know, show no fear, because otherwise they're not eating. So no bribes either. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
So, I think that's about it. I'm happy to answer questions if people have more questions. So put in the comments.
So hopefully this will make all of your meal times go a little bit smoother. Next time, what are we going to talk about? Was it?
Well, we talked about possibly probiotics and kombucha. We could do that one. We could do the Dirty Dozen with Clean 15.
Oh, let's do like let's do Dirty Dozen. And then we can do maybe Clean 15 the next time.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right, guys. So next week, tune in and we will be doing Dirty Dozen. Like we said, if you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And hopefully we will see you next week. And have a great tea time for the rest of your day.
Cheers.
Bye.